Our family was a PlayStation family. One of the few games that I finished on the PS1 was Crash Bandicoot. Nearly 30 years after its release, I tracked down character designer Charles Zembillas to discuss his role in creating Crash.
People are aware of what I've done for He-Man and Shura and all that other kind of stuff, but it was the video game work that I did that really I'm known for. At that time, everybody looked down their noses on video games. There's a hierarchy in animation. Feature films, television, commercials, direct-to-video, and video games was like bottom of the rung. I was invited to participate in this new video game project that was going on at Universal, and I was invited by a good friend of mine, Joe Pearson. So we just started working on this, and it became Crash Bandicoot. Crash was Joe Pearson, almost entirely Joe Pearson. He wrote the whole thing. He wrote the production Bible. He designed every single background for it. That's how Crash emerged. I was just backing up Joe. But the thing with Crash and some of the other characters that were going on at that time was you couldn't animate them. They weren't like animatable. So what I did was I worked them so they could animate, and then I would like give them personality. I would give the character a character. So I just started putting my own kind of feel into Crash, and they responded very positively to it. And then you give it to everybody else. I mean, it goes to the modelers, it goes to textures and all that kind of stuff, and it goes into what we call the pipeline, the production pipeline. At that point, I just stepped back and let everybody do their thing. I was called in to do like the concept for the cover a few months after we had started it. And so I would do stuff like that, or maybe design some incidental characters and everything. It turned out to be terrific. I was on the heels of that. That was Naughty Dog, and they were set up at Universal Studios, and down the hall from them was Insomniac Games, and they were aware of the work that I had done on Crash, and they asked me to develop a project for them, and that turned out to be Spyro the Dragon. This was all freelance stuff. I wasn't on staff. It was just freelance. Spyro was probably the most fluid of all the projects I've ever designed, because they knew that they wanted a dragon, but they didn't know what kind of a dragon. So when I started Spyro, I was drawing like big dragons and goofy dragons, and Spyro happened very fast, because by the middle of the second day, I had gotten the character. We had settled on when I said we've done everything else. We haven't done anything cute yet, and so let's try something cute. And as soon as I started drawing, just almost instantaneous. I did one sketch. I remember said, "This is it. This is the character. We got the character." And then I just developed that. The last big video game project I developed was Jak and Daxter. They didn't know what they wanted for Jak and Daxter. We started with told me to draw gremlins. I was just throwing stuff out there. So basically what I'm looking for, I was looking for like what they didn't like, so I could eliminate things. And I started focusing on what they did like. So with Jak and Daxter, for example, they'll pick out the hair from this one drawing, and foot wrappings from another one, and like straps from another one and stuff. And it was almost like we pieced it together. I haven't been involved with Crash since 2001. And that was when we did Crash Nitro Kart. Joe and I were together. We reunited for that game. And I haven't worked on Crash since that time. Somebody told me about this over the summer. And this is a popular energy drink here in the US called G Fuel. This is Crash, this is Spyro. This is what happened. I've got this really exceptional notoriety, but it was completely unintended. Because I thought He-Man was going to be a flop. I said, who's going to want, I was used to, when I grew up, we had like fully articulated action figures. He-Man, what? You can move the arms like this, you can move the waist like this. It's just like this really, I thought it wasn't going to catch on. It turned out to be a tremendous hit. I learned early on, you never know what's going to happen. And I just got lucky.
For the last 26 years, Zembillas has been running the Animation Academy in Burbank, California, teaching a new generation of animators.
Guys, we're entering into a period right now, which I'm calling the new Hollywood, because the old Hollywood is really becoming obsolete. Look into what's happening with Disney over the past year. You know how much money Disney lost on their movies? Their latest one was another disaster. Go look at the Amazing Digital Circus on YouTube. And the last it came out about 2 months ago. Last time I checked it, it had 160 million views. We're emerging into an era where the corporate executives no longer control the content that we're creating. As animation production was liberated back in the early 90s, the concepts and the properties and all that kind of stuff is being liberated now. I'm extremely enthusiastic about that, and it's about time. It's just you find out what it is that you do well, what do you enjoy doing, and just excel at it, and you're going to have a wonderful life, So yeah, that's my advice.